It's a very good evening to you. Welcome to it. This is our special broadcast and it's coming to you live from our studios here in Hatfield in Pretoria. My name is Karabalance. Glad to be with you. Brought to you courtesy of Government Communication and Information System, the GCIS, together with Brand Water. Glad to be in your company. We're going to be together for the next coming hour and we're going to be sharing some information that's coming from Brand Water. It's an educational program that we're having. We've been having this for the past, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 9 weeks. If I'm not mistaken, and this is going to be our 10th week, and we're pretty excited to have you in our company. We're going to be talking about a very, very important issue that Brand Water has been trying to address, and it's become evident, in fact, after last week when my guest came into the studio, and he told me about recent developments out in the area of Orange. I nearly said Orange Grove, Orange Farm rather, and now having taken that into consideration, we do realize how important these broadcasts are, and we'd like you to be part of it by taking part in them. 0800 142 446. That's 0800 142 446. That number is a toll-free number if you're going to be calling from a landline. Otherwise, if you're calling from a cell phone, call us in. We'll take your details down and we'll call you back. And in that sense, we'll be saving you costs. So Brand Water is here, and Tata Mohale is here. Justice Mohale coming from Brand Water. He's the communications officer, in short, from Brand Water, and he's joining us again. Thank you so much for making time again, and Tata Mohale, welcome.
Thank you so much, Karabo. I'd like to greet our listeners out there, and that is going to be, as usual, exciting to interact with them. Thanks.
Absolutely. So we're going to be talking about encroachment. We've been talking about this for the past couple of weeks, and listeners, each and every week there's something just new that pops up, and this is very interesting. I was talking to Justice about it earlier on, and even last week after the show we had last week, I said to Justice, we're talking about one subject, but it's very interesting to see that every week the show takes another dynamic altogether. In fact, there was a twist in last week's program where we actually found out that there were informal settlement that's mushrooming out in the area of Orange Grove. That name again, Tata Mohale, what is that specific area again?
It's in Grasmere area.
In the Grasmere
it's
area.
In the valley, yes.
So that area, apparently now, there's illegal settlement or illegal informal settlement.
It's Drisik.
There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. That's the name I'm looking for. So in Drisik, out in the Orange Farm area, and taking that into consideration, we do realize we need to push with this type of information, because that incident by itself told us we have lots and lots of people that are desperate for a place to stay, and but when that's happening, also Brand Water needs to take heed that we need to be on the lookout and educate people that as you go about trying to find a settlement somewhere, please note there's some dangers. And this is part of it, and we're calling it encroachment, informal encroachment. And maybe this is your first time you're joining the show. You're probably wondering, what on earth are these guys talking about? Encroachment has got nothing to do with illegal water connections. No, that's what we're talking about. But to explain to us further in terms of what encroachment is, Tata Mohale, informal encroachment, take it from there.
Thanks very much, Karabo. Thanks for this time. We have said it several times, but as you said, for the first listeners who will be listening for the first time, when we talk of encroachment, informal encroachment, we're talking about it may be one person or a group of people who have decided to build their homes on Brand Water servitude. Some of them may not know that they're building their homes on Brand Water servitude, where there are pipelines and which may even cause danger to their lives or damage their properties, their belongings in case of a burst. So which is why Brand Water has decided to partner with you, so that we impart this message that be careful. Wherever you stay, don't see an open space and go there and start building your home there. It may cost your life or lives of those you love.
0800 142 446. Let me open the telephone lines already. I'd like you to be part of the broadcast, and perhaps you might share a thing or two with us, or maybe ask a question or a comment. We want more than welcome to share comments as well. So 0800 142 446. That's 0800 142 446. We're talking about informal encroachment, and there's no use for you to go and build a settlement or to build a dwelling at a place where there's rainwater servitudes. And maybe you're saying, okay, yeah, we must not build at the rainwater servitudes, but you're using big words here. You're probably saying, probably wondering what a servitude is. Let's explain that, Mahal.
When we talk of servitude, we're talking about it's a limited real right. It's you have a right, but it's not a full right. I always want to give example on this. Let's say, Karaba, you have a farm, and I'm rainwater. I'm in the business of providing purifying water and supplying to municipalities. But there's a municipality on the east of your farm, and I want to supply that municipality with water. I need to lay the pipelines, because water pipelines are not in the sky, they are underground. So I have to come to you as the owner of a farm or of a piece of land, negotiate with you and say, can you please give me so many meters wide, because I want to lay a pipeline and that will channel water to a municipality that's on the other side of your farm. So you have a right to enjoy that little property that you have been given. It's not a full right. That is why they say servitude. It's a limited real right. It's a right that is limited.
All right. And some people might be wondering, okay, I think you and I, when we spoke last week, there's one area that we've discussed at the very beginning of our shows, but we sort of we've not touched on it quite for a couple of weeks. And it's an issue here where the unplanned and unapproved encroachment. You want to explain those?
Yeah. So it's informal, because babona in open space, and then informal encroachment, because in the end they discover where there's a pipeline that has been laid underground, which is supplying municipalities with mega millions of water, and which in case of a best, results may be catastrophic. So that is informal encroachment. And then we do have formal encroachment. Formal encroachment is when people who, or let me say developers, have developed housing projects, be it flats or just normal residential area, on either on a pipeline or too much close to our pipelines. That is formal, because I remember developers have to go to the municipality. They have all information on their disposals. They can go to the town planning of municipalities and show them their plans and say, we want to start developing a residential area here. The municipality will give them the maps to say, here on this place there's a big pipeline which belongs to rainwater, and it's supplying mega liters. So in that case, people will come to us and say, rainwater, we want to build here. How do we go about it? Because we understand you have another pipeline mode. So that is formal. It happens, and in case it's a go high court as we are speaking, who demolish those properties. Because of the Achille Modi pipelines. And I think it's important to pass this message to people who are, even if a townhouse or a gandro, there's no harm or we are town planning department, from municipality to municipality now. Okay, you want to buy a property that is going to be developed by this company here. Okay. it's clear there's no pipeline, or there's a pipeline, or there's encroachment. So I think it's important because had law applied to the High Court, had law to go, it's going to be, it won't look nice.
And this is where I wanted to jump in. It's one of the issues you're facing, and it's not a nice one. You don't want to go that route. Hence, Rand Water are proactive to say, look, before anything is built, whether it's legal, whether it's illegal, for lack of a better word, planned or unplanned, formal or informal, let's just check where we are developing areas. In fact, even developers, if you're into the development industry, perhaps take heed of this, because on the other hand, it's going to cost you millions. I mean, I could just imagine you being approached by Rand Water to say, but this pipeline has been lying here for years and years, and you just came the other day and you decide to build here and we have to demolish. I mean, that's a route that you don't want to go.
No.
It's part of the challenges that you're facing. Tell me a little bit about the removal of people. I don't want to dwell too much on it, but just to paint a picture. What happens with that?
Okay. As soon as we discover encroachment on our pipeline, or too much closer to our pipeline, the first thing that we do, informal encroachment. What we do, we have to start negotiations, discussions with the community leaders. Every community has a leader or a group of people who might have proclaimed themselves as the leaders. From there, we'll talk to them, and we'll talk to the local councillor. We have councillors all over, and with the councillors, we raise this issue and say, there's a problem here, but is there a way you can try to find a way who raise their grievances or their plight, go home Masbala, and Masbala will find a place for them, because some municipalities have vacant land, and some agreement or and then from there, as Rand Water, in terms of transportation, relocation of those families, and Batusaga will bear the cost for I don't want to say real demolition, but on-side structures and then and the Tusaka transportation, and the Tusaka will rebuild those houses that might have been taken out from the previous area.
But this is not, we're not encouraging people to buy a simply because there will be instances where Rand Water say, look, we draw the line here.
Not at all.
So we're not encouraging people to go out and build, and then after Bataro, Rand Water will remove us from those houses.
No, we are not at all, because it's not our area to relocate people. Our core function again is to abstract water from the Valdem, which I can say it's raw water. From there, that water that we extract from the Valdem will be channeled to two of our water purification plants in Verenigen, that's Zekerbos and Verenigen. From there, that raw water will go through rigorous processing, purification process, and in the end, when the water has reached, or when we are satisfied the water is clean, we will Masbala as bulk, megaliters, millions of megaliters to municipalities. So I encourage about to in any way. And again, we don't blame anyone. It's not our area to blame people. What we are doing now as Rand Water, we go to communities that have encroached to educate them about the dangers of residing either on Rand Water servitude or close to the servitude, because in case of a pipe burst, it's going to be disastrous.
Catastrophic. Yeah. 23 minutes after 6, 0800 142 446. That's 0800 142 446. I'd like to hear from you as a listener. Ngatabala kwawena ngajabula mnawe mangathatha ucingo lakho shayele mhlombe ubunombuzo lo ufuna ukubuza, you can do exactly that. 0800 142 446. I'm going to try a bit of my Zulu and Xhosa this evening. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be kind of comfortable to speak Xhosa because I've got somebody on my left hand side. There's a lady coming from our our video department. Nobu is back. She speaks Xhosa. She's all the way from PE. So if I'm not saying a word correctly, I'll just hear somebody young pinch on the side. So I'm very comfortable with that. 0800 142 446 0800 142 446. Somebody might say, okay, but now tell us, we are willing to help in the sense that we don't want to go and encroach. But now, how do we identify areas, once we've built on them, then we're encroaching? How do we know if there's a rainwater servitude or is there's a rainwater pipeline running in a specific area?
These cement blocks, rainwater. Sometimes I drive sometimes in the open spaces, open areas. They go through the bushes. How that pillar? There's something there's a pipeline going there. It's a very thin ones, sharp. They thread parallel on the sides. Blue. And then in the middle, the middle one, the white one, it shows the pipeline runs underneath, and then those two ones which are parallel to the white one, they indicate the edge of the servitude. So but we're not saying how bona the blue ones and then udule mohafiliona ore. Because I get more pipeline. So because in case of a burst, someone will be affected.
Water burst or pipe burst when it happens, it doesn't happen the diameter. What I'm trying to say, the water won't take the size. Pipe. It's always greater than that.
Yes.
It could be even kilometers at times.
Yes, and the pressure, what's one means speed is I would say the speed and force aeroplane. And remember, we're not talking about a small pipe. We're talking about pipe that is 42 meters in diameter. You can imagine how many millions of water pass there. Yeah, the water that is passing through that pipeline. And by the time we realize there's a pipe burst, we have to first locate the valve that we are going to close. And by the time we get there, maybe the water would have destroyed someone's properties, belongings, or maybe the might have been wiped away.
And we don't want that. We've got a case Melody each and every single time where I always refer to that because for now it was the first time I see something like that happening, and I could not believe it. In fact, there was a loss of life when that happened. It wasn't, fortunately, I'm using fortunately as a loose word, really. It wasn't rainwater's area though, but it's similar in terms of the catastrophe that's caused by a burst pipe. So 0800 142 446. That's 0800 142 446. It's a toll-free number if you're going to be calling from a landline. In any language of your choice, really. Ngathethi isiXhosa, ngakhuluma isiZulu, ngathethi iSwati, ngabulabula Shangani, Chivenda, ngamba Chivenda. You're more than welcome to call in. Chivenda is going to be a bit difficult for me, but I'm willing to learn. I'm a South African, so let's do that. Sure. 28 minutes after 6 o'clock, 0800 142 446. How does informal encroachment affect rainwater's daily operations? Somebody might be asking.
Yeah, it's somehow difficult, but to Mohodima pipeline, because in the first place, as we said in the beginning, that this places or this kind of places are unregulated. So hauna the pattern ya hudula abadule gadi tsagadi side straight. You'll find that people have built their homes haphazardly. And in that instance, it's difficult. Let's say there's a pipe leak. So if there's a pipe leak, if it's rainwater's pipeline, we need to go there and fix the leak.
Yeah.
First, we have to go close the water somewhere in one of our valves and start repairing that leak. So it's difficult for us to get there if we can't even drive in. We can't even drive in. We can't penetrate drive through the people's houses. And last time you asked me about what happens that leak, and I spoke about excavators. Or excavator, it needs a space, because if the owner didn't go around, the driver of that excavator cannot do his job, because it needs until they toll a pipeline. And remember, the pipelines you can dig with a pick, and we dig with them much deeper. And for safety reasons, yeah.
But I mean, besides hindering the driver's inability to exit, the issue here is that it's not like he can't. He can, but then he would have to move your house.
Yes, you see, that's the problem.
But the issue is we don't want to do that just that way.
And the other one, it's vandalism of our
let's
assets.
Talk about that. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Because at some point, we don't know whether knowledge our system, they go to our valves and then try to tamper with the valves. It ends up in theft of water. First is vandalism, because you vandalize our pipeline or our valve there. From there, and then it's either or maybe someone would even sell. That. So it's one of the serious challenges we're facing as Rand Water, that is theft of and tampering of our assets. Yeah.
And obviously people will be charged and people will be...
That's a criminal offense. It is a criminal offense, and obviously it's also involved police. And as members of the community, when we see something that's wrong, we have to inform the police and say we saw this and that happening, we saw this person tampering with this, and it's a criminal offense. Because some people will say, why did you the pipeline here somewhere in Pumalanga? He says about me, but we know what it's human rights, a human right, and
but it's got to be channeled, correct?
Yeah. Municipalities and
it's like saying everybody needs to eat, but because you don't have food and you go into a store,
equivalent
of that.
Yes.
0800 142 446, 0800 142 446. It's amazing how time flies when we're talking about issues of importance. It's just got 28 minutes before 7 o'clock. If you've just joined us, and there goes my phone ringing. So if you've just, don't call me on my personal phone, by the way. Call me on the phone that I've allocated to you. It is a toll free. It's 0800 142 446. That's 0800 142 446. That number is a toll free line if you're calling from a landline. If you're calling from a cell phone, we'll take your details down and that way call you back.
Yeah, one of the challenges I have big resistance from Batubai illegally, either, as I always emphasize, either next to the pipeline.
I was going to come to that, because it's not. I can imagine. Sometimes it's not easy to go to people and say, look, you've built on our servitudes, and therefore you would need to move you. Other people could just say to you, you're talking rubbish. It's not going to happen.
Other people, So, and now we have to be, somehow diplomatic and start educating them about the dangers. And or any other person close to you, and educate those dangers. Or
Kabahana still.
Engage their leaders. You know, sometimes when you engage leaders, discussions or dialogue tend to be somehow focused, and in the end, you have some desired outcomes. We engage our community leaders, councillors, and even municipalities, even MECs of COCTA in different provinces. In our areas of supply, we also engage them. They are quite aware of the the dilemma we find ourselves in sometimes.
It looks like rainwater is going to great lengths, really, to save people's lives, because at the end, that's what it is. Catastrophe like a pipe burst water main. It's one that I saw it. You know what? I think when you and I spoke over the phone at some point, we did a broadcast via the phone, and there was one that was happening in the East Rand, and you can see how catastrophic that was. Tell us about that a little bit.
There was a pipe burst, and it destroyed people's belongings, and luckily no one passed away, no one was killed, and it's a very serious situation. As I'm saying, that's why Randwater has decided to partner with you so that reach every corner. And I must say, last week during the our discussion, Mona Garabo, I'm happy because at least we managed to discourage 2 people who have already delivered their building material, called Rizik. And they said, no, we are not going to continue after we heard you guys say this pipeline's best. And then high best Igarabolaya. So these guys, really, we hope they committed to their promise,
For some reason, I cannot remember their names, but if
Bongali
there we go.
Yeah, Bongali Tsepiso.
Bongali Tsepiso. I'd like to hear from you guys in terms of developments following our interaction last time. What has happened up until so far? I would like to hear from you, but I still want to say big ups to you people, really. Big ups to you for having done what you did last week, and you guys did promise that you're going to speak to some of the people that are planning, or some of the people that are even staying there at the moment, and those that are planning to put up structures there to seize from that. I would like to find out how is that going. 0800 142 446 Bonga in Tsepiso Nelly Badudi Bako Trisik. But they called in last week. So if you guys are calling in, I'd like to hear from you. 0800 142 446. Some of the challenges that Rainwater is facing in the process of laying the pipes. Now we are now starting the process of laying the pipes. What are some of the challenges that you guys face?
Yeah, first, re tshwanetse thoma re be le plan ya horna pipeline e tlo tsamaya mo kae. There'll be surveying and bona horna pipeline e tlo tsamaya mo kae. And in cases where we discover hore ho na le privately owned farms or pieces of land, we have to find the owners. If it's a government, easy, we can talk to them and try to highlight the importance of laying such a pipe, of them giving us that piece of land so that we can have the servitude. If it's a privately owned land, problem, but we do negotiate, discuss with them. Some of them understand, some of them will say, okay, you want 42 meters wide piece of land, now I'm giving you 30. And
that's not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough
for the pipe, for the specifics of the pipes.
Yeah. Because I had a salary. When we say we want to have, or when we request 42 meters wide servitude, it's because we know the kind or the size of the pipeline that will be laid there. So in such instances, that's when we follow the legal route. And from there we go to the High Court and we apply to have that servitude. Because I remember we are an essential service provider. Water is life. Water is a human right, and we cannot be held back by people who don't want to give us servitude. We'll go to the Higher Court. We'll take the legal route until we get the piece of land so that we can provide people with water.
Here's a big word I want us to talk about. It's rerouting. Rerouting. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, rerouting is when, let's say there's a development. There's a structure. Let me give an example: a mall, and a mall. And on yes. So how are we going to lay the pipe there? So
I wonder if it's gas.
So the negotiator making sure we reroute the actual line on the other side
of it,
of the mall. It's a very costly exercise, but at some point we are left with no choice but to continue with it.
All right, we've had 2 callers. I'm going to take Vincent on the line now, but before I take Vincent, we had another caller calling from Sebokeng. The caller wants to find out what was Sebokeng hauna meiti. I think before it's Vincent, or let's take Vincent and clarify the issue. When residents bus and meiti is not necessarily rainwater. We've dealt about it last week, and you painted such a beautiful picture that made me understand as well. I just noted. Let's take Vincent quickly. Vincent is calling all the way from Hammondskraal. Good evening to you, Vince. Vincesto. Thanks, Bruaga, for calling in. What is your comment or question?
Listen, I think it's a comment and a question that it might deviate a bit from what you guys are talking about, but I think it will be relevant.
All right, cool.
Yeah, can you see your guest, Mr. Mohalo, so listen, sir?
That guy.
Repeat. Now, I want to know, how often do you patrols to make sure that these pipes where they have been planted are regularly checked? Because I think if you can be able to do that, also maintenance of those pipes, are they happening, or you just leave them, I don't know, until it best, that's when you'll be able to see whether or not it had effect, maybe. And then another question that I have is with regards to, I don't know if this one is going to be relevant or not, but local, where I stay in Hammondskraal, I see a lot of pipes. They are not deeply packed. They are just, do you guys also check those, because of they end up wasting water? Someone will pass with their car, and they will shoot the work. How often do you guys do those patrols to check whether these pipes are safe?
Thank you so much, Province. It's at 19 minutes before 7. 0800 142 446. That's 0800 142. I'd like to hear from you. Ngathanda nami ukuthi ngizwe wena ukuthi le ndaba le uyibona kanjani, uyayizwisisa na lento sikhuluma ngayo this evening in terms of mawuhlala lapho ungafanelanga uhlale khona makunama pipes where rainwater underneath, lento leyo ngabanga ukuthi kube a catastrophic event that could be happening. And now uyazwisisa when we speak about these type of things. So you can call us in ungashayela nawe 0800 142 446. Let's start questionnaire Vincent, and we're gonna go. In fact, you know what? Let's do this in the Mahal, because when I'm looking at Vincent's questions, the message would be the same, because when we spoke last week, all right, Vincent Dublelaga residential area. And pipes that are running there, and he's mentioning pipes along there on the surface. Now, when you consider that, and you take a question that came from Sebokeng, was Sebokeng or Ahona mates? All right, it's in the same basket, if I can call it that. It will back to who rainwater is and what it does, and the relationship between the municipality, rainwater, the municipality, and the water consumer. Tell us about that.
All right, the Sebokeng matter, I would say, has been resolved. Problem, but we didn't never snameti because now I would say some sort of misunderstanding between rainwater and Masipala wa Emfuleni, but that matter has been resolved. The water has been restored, and it's going to take some time, because remember, we as rainwater, we have our reservoirs. They have to be filled, they have to reach a certain level, and from there the municipalities themselves have their own reservoirs. So the misunderstanding was between us and them, and the problem has been solved. And the problem again was that their reservoirs went completely empty. and that matter has been resolved. Now we are pumping water into the reservoirs, but some areas do have water.
What's about reservoirs? I'm going to tell you a short story. You're probably going to laugh at me. The first time I heard the word reservoir, I will never, ever forget that. I was 9 years old. And our teacher was just teaching us about water, saving water and stuff like that. And there was this dude, Raymond Sibi. I still can remember the dude. The entire class didn't know. The teacher pointed out, we could see the reservoir from our class, and the teacher pointed out, or what is that thing there at the mountain? No one in there knew what the thing was. And Raymond raised his head, he says reservoir. That was a big word for me back in those days. So every time somebody says word reservoir, it reminds me of Raymond Sibia. But now, okay, so wabona ya booking. Okay, I can understand that, and I'm glad that you're saying it's sorted out, and people can go with their lives as normal. Because when a little relationship, there is a connecting relationship to rainwater with this specific one. But the pipe, they are lying above ground.
Okay.
Or any other places that maybe there's a lack of water. And rainwater is not part of that. Can you explain how that works? We know I explained last week.
Yes, the pipelines are rainwater. Di tsamaya ka mo tlase because re tsamaisa metsi a mangata, and di tsamaya underground. And tse o tla thola lo motlhomongwe ha di ka mo tlase o tla thola lo re ke tsa masepala. The pipelines are rainwater. Di tsamaya ka mo hara township or residential area. Tsa ka hara tse di young residential areas ke tsa di masepala, because they supply water to the residential areas. Last week I explained how rainwater, our core function is to purify and supply bulk millions of megaliters to individual municipalities that we supply, and then rubber supply through the pipelines, and at some point our pipelines supply the pipelines are masipala, and then masipala ke tsona di isang go wena go rona as residents, because you can even see even our municipal accounts don't say rainwater, they say the city of Tshwane or Johannesburg or Ekurhuleni. So tsedi tsamayanga go kitsa maspa kitsa di maspa. Yes, kitsa di maspa.
So Oscar rainwater to see the pipe people that they don't. But so that there we go. That's the answer to that question that you had. Those that you're seeing, those that you can see, Kokasi, those are not rainwater pipes. So those are municipality pipes.
Ours are big ones, and they carry megaliters, millions of megaliters, and which may cause trouble in case of a burst. That is why we have taken a decision.
This thing here, burst is a serious thing. I don't know if people understand. This thing here, burst, what I mean is a and you need to use the word. It starts with a B. But I shouldn't do that one day. But can you not express it? It's a bloody big thing. Okay, let's take Tabo from Etridge. Let's take Tabo, and then we'll go back to that. Okay, we're coming back to that one. Let's take Tabo from Etridgeville. Tabo.
And then Hanshi for the Panama, the reservoir, with the mountain. I don't care if the governor married the governor was saying because of when you see a pipe generator and come reservoir around the reservoir on the into a wedding. I do get a mountain, a governor reference or the reservoir, but honorable or a country that is a good mountain.
Yeah, I think that the we made a sharp with our Konkoma fellow when you said, or is it maybe Honale a leeway or Riwa inside a residential area? But thank you so much. I know Atridgeville is very famous park. I drive all the way from Mamelodi, what else part of Atridgeville. Come on,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. 12 minutes before, just in case you don't know what Spatlo is, maybe you're listening and I just Spatlo, 12 minutes before 7. All right, let's before we lebal. Okay, let's start with that one we know today. And then we'll come back to this one here. Tabo.
Yeah, that Vincent go Maskral.
Yeah, Tabo rather. Is it Vincent?
Vincent now.
Or Nalia Vincent outstanding.
Yes.
Okay, let's start with that and we'll go back to Tabo.
Okay. That Vincent, a question was relating to monitoring. Patrolling of servitude.
Yes.
So we do patrol. We have service providers who are security guards who patrol our servitude. But remember, Redwater has 3,500 kilometers of pipeline network. It's quite long. But we do have security guards. We do have patrollers who patrol to make sure that as soon as someone starts erecting something, any type of structure, either next to our servitude or on our servitude, that person would immediately report it to us and we'll tackle it. To show the seriousness on this, we have also enlisted the services of the South African National Space Agency. It's one of the institutions that has I'll say equipment, cameras to monitor our pipelines, especially in areas where our patrollers cannot reach because they use their equipment, technology, to monitor our pipelines. And as soon as they detect something, development of a residential area in one of our pipelines or close to our pipelines, then they inform us and we can quickly deal with that. Question here under the tab, we go at Ridgeville, pipeline to the reservoir. The pipelines didn't lifespan. Although, well, it's possible or a pipeline is best before the end of its lifespan. But as Redwater, we have what I can call maintenance and repairing schedule. We know where this pipeline that goes to a certain place, it's supposed to be there for so many years, and we have to replace it at some point. Unless if there's some sort of a leak, then we can, excavate, re-air and then repair that pipeline. So reservoirs, the leads on in a lifespan, reservoirs for such and such for a certain period, and from there it replace you. So I say hangata reservoir ibestile.
But in fact, I mean, of course they are there, but there's nothing wrong with having reservoirs in a residential area, is there?
I think I would say the engineers. Well, we can, put our trust on our engineers.
Let's do that.
Because
it doesn't look like it. Because I mean, they're there. Even there's something wrong, but I don't think.
I don't think so.
Because, I mean, the surveys that they do before they do these things. So in other words, I'm just trying to say, Tibos. Ease up, Skawara that much. I mean, especially the reservoirs at Ridgeville, where I come from. I've been there for years, and years, But so don't worry too much about that. Because engineers know what they're doing in terms of that, so you should be okay. Let's take Helen from Buipatong. Helen? Oh, are we going for Rona? Okay, that's fine. Let's go for Rona.
Rona, Papa.
Hey, puchal na rehim.
Naku kupa uvuta se Papa. Kupa uvuta wore. Why we patong kamo kete de extension 2. Idule isina me sina nchela rikia so kariki morotonya na wana na bana se tobele.
Well, give me Batong guy, extension 2.
Extension 2,
oh, Kakai?
Extension 2.
Okay. Alright, magore na tla bona re ya raba ya mputshel naka.
Re a le leboga Mokakole.
When gape ao gape o di wa ntlhakatlhakanya jale o setse gore ke nyaka go botsiša mola gore wa kopa jale nna ke sa tsebe gore re a kopa goba re a kgopela
Aowa ke go kgolagano gore wa bolela o dira dilo tse ka moka.
nna ke a di tsena mmagorena
Aowa mošito o tswele pele.
mošito o tswela pele ke a go leboga kere.
Thank you Tata.
Right, 0800 142 446. Dr. Mahali, this would be a question area we should pose it to municipality. But Ari explain how this works.
Okay. We put under Maspala.
Okay, and Dr. Mahali Ari tshwaranya ganyane ke kope sound engineer na aka terminate the channel quickly because it's oozing of that phone. Brareji, if you can terminate channel 1, ya ntwena ya phone. There we go. Thank you so much for that. Right.
Okay, the area ya Buipatung Iwala under Mfoleni local municipality. No like the water where it trickles got hauna enough pressure. Hage what's a harabuza mehore ke how long uliwalo kena hana mutomo nearly part of butada bona rnalibona le maspala. But hey no it's not that but Sanjo Bar reported this problem to Maspala. But hardly it's just trickling and yeah because arena rent water supply Maspala like bulk water.
So go ya raba technically when honale metsi ga sa tswe at the pressure metsi ga sa tswe the way you would want them to be as normal
there's no pressure
the technical explanation I want there could be many but the one is the closest to grab. There's no pressure to it.
Yes, there's no enough pressure there.
Right.
There's no enough pressure, yes.
So, Mehelen, I think what you need to do, that statement as it is, go get me a big intelligence Babule car meter no more at Chukabos. It cover issue of pressure.
You have a pressure pressure and the
Yago Maspaling Babucho or no meter nacho they will have an explanation, detailed one.
And as I said, Karabo Hore, Renais and water, we don't supply you Karabo and me justice Kameti, resupply Maspala. And Maspala Giona supply Rena as residents.
I want the listeners to get that picture. We did that exercise last week. Hold my hand again, the justice. We're going to do it again. All right. So this is how it works. Correct. Now, exam. I got you've been teaching me, but just for the part. This is how it works. Okay. You've got dams. You've got rivers. This is where rainwater gets water from.
Let's say the Val Dam.
The Val Dam in this instance, right? So what happens? Rainwater gets water from there as raw.
Yes.
Right? Then rainwater, meragwabona. This is the important part now for the listeners. Meragwa rainwater is to purify that water. Okay? Once the water is purified, what they do, they supply individual municipalities. Okay? And with bulk water.
Yes.
And then municipalities, bona, but supplier, the residents.
Yes.
Out of 10, how did I do?
11 out of 10.
And give up. Give up. Begging one exam. I was writing an exam with a total mark of 100. I would get 150. That's how I roll. 0800 142 446. Let's speak to Danny. Danny's calling all the way from the Val. Good evening to you, Danny.
Tell me
that.
Bonta penkila na hala kapo karo professor na khutun ka manon sona bitaga na or le fatsin tele ila de linya na kata dal kai na khwai ta hala hore ibe jara kan tsor bona di bata te di ki sa bodi plus ya bodi ha re ki swa ba fato ta ba ha mo to ba di formal encroachment to kana ona te move me tseding ha re ke se motho ha sa na mosebetsi le tata o etsa hala jana o na re rekile ha re tata re tseban tse no re fa tsele re ku ntse tse na go a gona hala gore renot itle I khutler a ba tsepi tsa rena ka hanne di tlile re di hire tso di tsamaya ke tlo di tlosa ha di sa tsamaya ka mona se di ka hle di tsamaya ka mona kapa bo mabitse mane le ka kgona gore le parole tse di peipi tsa nna ka rama ditla ka mo ka lefatsheng tse le hlile ba lenyenyana gore ba tla o tseba rona ka ba possible le bona ntona gore ka nna ba hlile ba tse di tsa ntse mme le gona gore if go etsahala gore peipi e la basa hona go bolela gore ke tshenyego e kae e banka ho lona ka water ka mona a pipe ya bus.
All right. How is the Val this evening?
Pula ya nantate ya ke ya tlampa he ntse tlo bona sala ro ba mathate nga metsi morona ka mara ya ha ona tsotse
a hle ba pele pula ena
ntate ding ke kopa o tlisisa botso ya hao no botsisa gore na o ka khone gore mo na le di graves rain water e ka dira ntshela rerouting ya pipeline. Okay, and then how in a development residential area can we reroute and then
I think that they didn't want this one. It wasn't okay. Rerouting could be the one Ilamabita, but now the way I've understood the first one, when there's an existing pipeline there. Are you able to uproot it? In fact, I've written here uproot. Is that what you meant, Denny?
Yes. Development
Right. Thank you so much, Denny, for your call all the way from the Val. Thank you so much for that. It's on 7 o'clock on the dot. 0800 142 446 0800 142 446. It's a technical one because can you go in this way? Who goes and who stays? Is it the pipe or the man?
That's okay. Gaela ya the graves because you know Gasitu C2 we can't. We'll have to try by all means to make sure that we leave those who have rested to continue resting. There's no way we can disturb them. I don't think that will be proper. No. And regarding our routine, but the existing pipelines, this one the legal route. Because obviously people will refuse to leave and say nar regile. We'll have to take the legal route and just to make sure that but first, before the legal route, educate about we'll tell people who are listening, there's a pipeline, Mona. There's a pipeline.
This is what you're facing.
This is what you're facing. If you want to take the risk, what we can say to highlight to you is that you may lose your life, you may lose the lives of those who are close to you, your loved ones, or you may even lose your belongings. And we will try by all means to talk to people to highlight the dangers that are, we say water is life, but it can become death. Yeah, it can become death.
Dr. Justice, another thing went out of my mind. This is the first time I go on air and I want to ask something and I don't know what to ask. Like, for instance, it was in my mind and then it's gone. Oh my, can you believe it? 0800 142
today we haven't punted our number, our toll-free number.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
Let's do that. I think punt that number while I'm still trying to get in my mind the
this number, we have a toll-free number that people can call in case Babona Hunale some development. That's 08 60 1010 60 08 60 10 1060, and they can call that number, or hello Baban and access to emails. They can send us forward us emails, customer service at randwater.co.za, customer service at randwater.co.za. They can send us emails, and clearly identifying the specific area where such developments may be coming up, maybe emerging, so that we can go there, investigate, and tackle it as early as possible.
In fact, what I wanted, it wasn't a question that I wanted to ask you now that I've remembered. It was a statement that I wanted to make, and maybe developers should take heed of what I'm going to say right now. This whole thing changes the way things have been done, but just is where we are now. In a sense, we no longer just develop. Yeah. And I don't know how does it work. I'm sure they do approach municipality and all of that. Yeah. But I think going forth, developers, if you're listening right now, going forth, this is one of the key things maybe you should include in your analysis, when you want to develop. One of the biggest things, is there a possible servitude in that area where you want to develop? So things that change.
They have to, but we don't know. We don't know how and why people end up developing on our servitude, and in some cases right on top of the pipelines. They have to, because they must take their plans, talk to the municipalities, town planning departments or divisions of different municipalities. From there, they know the procedures, and from there they can even involve rainwater. Because if there's a pipeline in a particular area, the municipality will say, it's rainwater pipeline, and they can send it to us. From there, we will discuss with them, and they'll discuss with our engineers or experts, and we will talk about the servitude.
Right. Yeah. So there we go, and that's how we wrap it up. Look, we don't want the catastrophe.
No,
we don't want loss of lives.
No.
When a pipe bursts, I go pipe. No, we don't want that. So let's take heed of that. 5 minutes after 7, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much, and Justice Mohale coming from Rainwater. It was a good one again. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Let's wrap it up for now. I'll tell you why I get to wrap up. That's simply because we have another show that's coming in the next 10 minutes exactly from now. That's the show at the Department of Social Development. Now, you would have received a notification from your correspondence at GCIS. If you haven't received a notification, it means you're not listed for this program. If you have, join us in 10 minutes. Ciao for now.